The fourth industrial revolution has arrived, and it is radically changing the way we do business. The new era is bringing us closer to a complete global marketplace. It is important that our business and entrepreneurial leaders act now and equip themselves with the knowledge and tools necessary to fit within the new era of business globalization. In South Africa, we have a unique approach to business, and the global market is ripe for creative business leaders. The Johannesburg Business School caters for the needs of business leaders in South Africa with an emphasis on scaling and growing SMEs, growing the economy and creating employment. JBS is teaching business differently.
The JBS MBA is different from other MBAs because we focus on small and medium-sized business. What we're interested in is growing those businesses, not only for the success of the people in them, but equally to grow the economy.
What really distinguishes us from other business schools is a conscious and an intentional approach to teaching business, and teaching business over simply business management. There really is a demand in the market for this approach to the MBA, an approach where people are creating their own businesses, growing and scaling small businesses to have a real impact on society in South Africa that will extend and expand well beyond the borders of South Africa into Africa, and then building onto a global mindset. Very, very importantly, this MBA is preparing us for the future and preparing us for a context-driven future in the space of South Africa and Africa at large. The digitization and the changes in the labor market is something that is fundamental to all of us. The JBS has embraced this. Technology, innovation, AI, you name it, these are all synonymous with the fourth industrial revolution. But we need to stay ahead of this. And what is fundamental about the JBS is how do we bring in the human side to the technological advances in a world of digitization and artificial intelligence. And I think this is a fundamental part and a fundamental role that business schools play, is how we actually rehumanize what we are doing in this world with the rise of the robots, and how connectivity among people has changed as a result of AI.
We thought very carefully about the MBA, and we asked ourselves, what do people need to know? And this led us to 3 areas of knowledge. 3 areas of knowledge being self, enterprise, and environment. We place a great deal of emphasis on self, because it all starts with self. If you're going to be a business person, you need to be organized, disciplined, and have a clear idea of your purpose. If you master that, many other benefits will flow from it. And we spend a great deal of time on things like conscious leadership, coaching to help you improve yourself, and everything that you need to know about yourself to be a good business person. So once you know about yourself and you know what you want to do, the next question for an MBA is, what do you know about business, and how can we help you to gain the business acumen you need to run a successful business? So that is the enterprise part of it. And then being a good corporate citizen, or being a good citizen in the business sense, you need to know about the environment you're in. South Africa presents many challenges for businesses, particularly small businesses, so we will tackle that head on. What is the role of business in society? What should an ethical business person be doing in this country to contribute successfully to the economy?
The Centre for African Business is involved in a number of activities at the business school. First and foremost, we develop and publish teaching case studies focusing specifically on understanding the business environment in Africa. And to support this, we run case study writing and teaching workshops. We also run events specifically focused on understanding the business context in Africa. These include forum events, seminars, conferences, and masterclasses. We distribute a monthly newsletter called the African Business Brief, featuring new content in each edition, which we have generated ourselves, and we are actively involved in the media, in the debate in and around Africa. We also run learning immersions into various African countries and run executive programs with a special focus and interest on understanding informality in Africa.
The difference in the approach to executive education at the Johannesburg Business School rests for me on a few core levels. Firstly, we're very high on the contextual understanding in which these delegates come from. The next difference for me is probably understanding the personal leadership journey of each of these individuals. And I think the last thing for me in terms of the core difference is this practical component we are trying to inculcate in all our courses. We want to leave our delegates with some toolkit, some ability to go back into their worlds of work and directly impact the areas in which they see development. If we look at the World Economic Forum, when they did their future jobs report and their prediction for 2020, where we find ourselves, a lot of the skills that they had predicted the current world of work would need is around judgment, the critical decision making, the ability to think with problem-solving techniques in the moment. And a lot of what we do here at the Johannesburg Business School is leverage coaching and mentoring centers of excellence and leverage conversations and dialogues around how people work in different contexts and how can we come together in this context and make it successful for all of us.
The programs that are offered by the Johannesburg Business School are centered around the reality that we are mostly well versed with the technologies of Industry 4.0. What we still need to do is to agree on what it means to be human in Industry 4.0. And that is the unique position that is occupied by the Executive Education Unit of the Johannesburg Business School. Our focus is on upskilling and reskilling executives as well as managers across the continent on the human competencies of Industry 4.0. We do these as masterclasses, executive education courses, as well as short learning programs in fascinating topics such as behavioral economics, business in Industry 4.0, creativity, design thinking, personal leadership, shared value, the next economy, the value of cultural diversity, as well as various others related topics.
Our teaching philosophy is that knowledge should be practical and usable. We're not interested in teaching knowledge for knowledge's sake. We're saying what we teach must have some applicability to the person's business. Therefore, we spend a great deal of time in our teaching philosophy of making sure that there's a lot of workshopping, not merely lecturers speaking at people, but actually interacting with the students so that they can gain the deep insights they need to make the knowledge practical. So the MBA, JBS MBA, is registered as a 2-year course. We say that diligent students could finish it in 21 months because they'd get their capstone project in on time and then they have completed the requirements for the MBA. As far as getting through the MBA, most students will get through the MBA, and typically what has tripped up MBA students is the research report. We're going to manage the capstone project very closely so that all students will finish on time. One of the added advantages is that there's a supervisor for each student on the capstone project. So we see it as being something very practical, very useful, and a great learning experience for people in business. If we look at students who do MBAs, there is no doubt that it changes their lives and their opportunities in the world.